know about you, but sometimes I find myself approaching Easter with a "could this really be true?" kind of question. I have some great news for us, though. We are not alone. The women head to the tomb to do what they were set out to do, to embalm the body of their dear friend. But when they get there, they find the tomb empty. They find that just the linen cloths that would have wrapped Jesus are there. And in the version that we just heard, we hear that they are frightened. Now, other versions, I was looking it up to see what other translations say. Other versions say perplexed, afraid, terror-stricken, terrified, puzzled, awestruck. Not a one of them says they are singing Alleluja. Not a one of them says, knew it. They too approach the tomb with a "could this be true?" experience. And then we have Peter. He wasn't with the women when they went to the tomb. He's back with the other male disciples, grief-stricken. Their best friend had died. They were likely terrified. And the women come back with what we hear to be nonsense. The tomb is empty. Jesus' body is not there. Nonsense. Now, other translations, I checked this out too, called it an idle tale, a feigned thing, something that didn't make sense, something made up. Bible scholar Dr. Caroline Lewis says perhaps the best translation for this would be garbage. That is not an Alleluja. That is not an "I knew it" response. So what does Peter do? He goes to check it out for himself because he cannot believe the garbage the women are saying. He gets to the tomb and the story checks out. The body is not there, just the linens that would have wrapped Jesus. And he leaves whistling, "Alleluja, Christ is risen." Nope. We hear that he leaves wondering. You know, the other versions. He leaves puzzled. He leaves marveling. He leaves amazed. This story, this Easter story, is central to our faith, and yet we so often approach it with a "could this be true?" With puzzling, with wondering, with feelings of perplexity. Now, all the kids up here are decorating flowers, and it got me thinking, have you ever planted a bulb? Now, I grew up in New England, and so we would plant bulbs in the fall, and they would stay underground all winter long. When we live here, you don't have an opportunity to freeze the bulbs outside, but there's ways around it. Take a look. That's a bulb. For 84 days. Now, it seems like nothing is going on in there. That bulb, when under the dirt, is in a cold, dark place. Not really unlike a tomb, but something is happening. Something is stirring in there. And new life is emerging. Now, I am sure that there are scientists, and some of you even out there, can explain exactly what's going on. There's even videos that kind of show what's happening under the soil with the roots growing and all that. But the fact remains that new life emerges out of seemingly nothing. We can wonder at the amazement of a beautiful hyacinth and not understand the hows and the whys of it. Similarly, we are invited to the Easter story with a similar sense of both and. We can both not understand and be amazed. We can be uncertain and experience the joy of new life. Both the women and Peter give us examples of how we might approach Easter. They showed up. They brought their fear and their wondering and their puzzling, and they went running when it seemed like an idle tale, and they were open to being amazed. So what would happen if we approach Easter that way? We wouldn't run away. We wouldn't shout no, but we would dig in to the experience of Easter with wondering, with puzzling, perhaps with amazement. And we would approach it with an expectation that we just might experience something unexpected. This week, I was driving my kids from one of their many activities, and one of them said to me, "Mom, look at that bunny over there, it's huge." I looked, and I didn't see anything. I looked here. There was no bunny that I could see. But she was talking about this. Friends, we are invited as followers of Jesus to be amazed, to expect the unexpected, to know with wonder and with awe. We are invited to run and see. We're not looking for a zombie walking around, but we are looking for signs of new life. We are looking for signs of love emerging. We are looking for signs of hope abounding. And we are invited to allow ourselves to be open to the resurrection. Not just the resurrection story of that first Easter, and not just resurrection about some after-death moment, but the resurrection stories of here and now. Of folks who have walked through incredible grief to new life. Of folks wrestling with addiction and get that 30-day chip. Of the sun rising every morning. Of someone being courageous enough to lend a hand to someone in need. These are resurrection stories, and resurrection people we are called to be. These are the stories we are always on the lookout for and can know without a doubt are true. Friends, the Easter story invites us to show up today, next Easter, every day in between. Day after day, year after year. Why? Because as we talked with the kids, Jesus lives in our lives today and every day. The hows and the whys of it, like that bulb that seemingly comes up out of nowhere. We don't need to science our way through Easter. We can just be marveled. We can just be amazed. When we show up, we can expect new life. Thanks be to God. Amen.